Hey guys, this is going to be a review of Shadowhunters Season 1, Episode 5, Moo Shu to Go. I apologize if the camera is off again or I'm not in frame again. I still don't have my tripod, so I'm trying to use my chair again, but I think it's working out even worse than last time. So they figure out in the beginning of this episode that Clary's necklace is a portal shard, and that leads to pretty much the rest of the episode. And my favorite thing about this episode was definitely the fact that we got so much interaction with Alec, Clary, and Simon. Like, Alec is with Clary for pretty much the majority of the episode. He's also with Simon quite a bit, and I just love their interaction. I kind of almost missed how Clary and Alec interact at the beginning of like the book series, and it's like getting that all over again, and I'm remembering how much I enjoy it, and I'm not really sure why that is, other than the fact that for some reason it amuses me. And I personally really enjoyed that in the episode. Of course, to be fair, I also enjoy pretty much like any scene that Alec is in because he is my favorite character, but still, I particularly enjoy his interactions with Clary. And we also got a phone call between Magnus and Alec in this episode that was adorable, and I loved that scene. It was such a like short scene, and it was the only bit that Magnus had in the entire episode, but I loved it. And since they're taking Luke to Magnus at the end of this episode, that means we should be seeing more of him in the next episode, and I'm extremely excited about that. Miri shows up in this episode. I'm probably saying her name wrong, because even after hearing it pronounced in the show, I just feel like I never know how to pronounce it, even after hearing it, because I can't like reconcile the sound with how it's spelled and everything. I don't know. But anyway, she shows up in this episode. We have the first mention of Max as well, which was interesting because as soon as she showed up, I was kind of thinking in my head about when or if Max was going to be mentioned, and then she immediately mentioned him. He's so terrible in the show though, and I can't figure out if she's that terrible in the books too, and she just seems worse to me because I'm like watching it play out, or if she's actually worse in the TV show than she is in the books. But the whole thing with her not hugging Izzy, and Izzy telling Clary that Shadowhunters don't hug, and then she immediately hugs Jace, was sad. She didn't hug Alec either, and I feel really upset for them. It was really sad, and I really hate her. And it is still frustrating me how completely clueless Jace is when it comes to Alec. I still just cannot even begin to understand how he is so clueless, and it drives me insane. I'm hoping with the next episode, since Magnus is going to be in it, I'm hoping, and I know that like Alec wasn't going with them, but I still have my fingers crossed for like Malik interaction, but just having Jace and Magnus in the same place, I'm hoping will lead to something that will like help Jace finally start to put it together, because I feel like at a certain point it's going to have to be so obvious that he can't like avoid it anymore. And Simon does all the crazy like climbing the wall, he's able to see the runes and everything, which Alec notes that him seeing the runes is strange, but I don't understand why neither one of them question it more. I know that they were at the loft to find the necklace and everything, so they had like other priorities, but I still don't really understand why they weren't like just a little bit more interested in why Simon suddenly had the sight, and Clary wasn't more like confused about why he suddenly had all this like agility and stuff. Actually, now that I think about it, I hadn't thought about this, but if they are going to Magnus's next episode, I almost wonder if it'll be Magnus who's like, maybe Simon's turning into a vampire, and like suggest it to the others. If Jace's observation skills or anything to go off of, the rest of the group isn't going to be able to figure out until it's like shoved in their faces. So maybe Magnus can be like the voice of reason and point out what's going on. I don't know. But they have to figure it out eventually. And the box from Clary's house comes up in this episode for the first time, and we see the wolf pack for the first time, which is exciting because it's another thing. Like at the beginning of the episode, I was wondering about when we're going to finally see them, and I also wondered whether like Luke was in the pack or alpha of the pack yet, or if we would see it. And then it turns out that we got to see it this episode, which was awesome. I got really excited when I realized that as soon as they started showing the pack, I had a feeling that we were going to get like Luke challenging the alpha in this episode. So I was really excited when we did. I'm really excited that Luke is the alpha now, and that Clary finally knows she can trust him, because I was extremely angry also when she still didn't trust him when he showed up in front of her. And I'm glad that him getting hurt at least was enough for her to finally trust him again. And I kind of feel like she's got everyone now. Like she has the Shadowhunters and Magnus and Luke, and I'm feeling really good about it. There's also this really quick scene towards the end of the episode where Izzy breaks Simon out of the room. They have him locked in, and she says something about being tired of saving him, and he says that he's not, and I just loved that moment. It was such a great Sizzy moment. We had very little Sizzy in this episode, just like we had very little Malik and very little Clace for that matter, now that I think about it. But I love that moment, and the little tiny Sizzy moments that we did get, like that moment, and then the one, and then I can't remember exactly what happened, but I know there was another little moment where like Izzy mentioned Simon and looked like worried about him. So I highly enjoyed both of those moments. I'm still loving how they're presenting Sizzy and everything, and their chemistry with each other and all of that. But I think I have mentioned everything so far. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. I still haven't watched the episode the second time, so this is only after my first watching, and I could have very well not remembered something. But I will see you guys later. Bye!